be it brass or aluminium. The manufacturing process involves combining the appropriate raw materials into a molten metal, which is allowed to solidify. The molten metal is later beaten into required shapes and sizes over an anvil using a small hammer. Finally, the craftsmen painstakingly fashion their designs. It is only amazing how they do this with no preliminary sketches. The finished products are useful in our daily lives, for worship, for occasions, for sports, as well as decorations and kitchen utensils.
This is the finished ones that we have done. This is a spoon. Okay. We call it bantoro. It's one of our products.
For tourists visiting Bida, souvenirs are available in the form of earrings, bangles, and rings.
And the search for 20 must-visit destination continues. Stand by now for travel tips.
The world has in recent weeks been besieged by the scare of the deadly coronavirus nicknamed COVID-19. Today on Travel Tips, we'll bring you ways of preventing exposure and the spread of this deadly virus. Avoid close contact with people who are infected personnel. Avoid contact with your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Cover your mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze, then trash the tissue. Wash your hands with alcohol-based hand sanitizer after coughing, sneezing, and contact with the nose. Clean and disinfect your hands frequently after contact with objects and surfaces using disinfectant and household cleaning wipes. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds after using the bathroom. This information has been brought to you in partnership with Gogi Africa Travel Club.
Aye, 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 aye. uza wagoge, uza wagoge, uza wagoge, uza wagoge.
As we draw the curtain on this episode, we say to all the women to continue to soar and strive for greatness.
And we will continue to amplify your voices.
Until same time on the same channel.
I say hello, sisters. Let's keep it real.
Stay alive.
I started as a roadside carpenter, hitting nail on the wood to make sense, small center table, and so on. And a roadside, really roadside.
Wow.
Because I was just tired of working.
My brother, my sister, papa, mama, and pikin. Corona, no big pass us. We go fight time, we go win. As long as we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other, we go win. Oh. Corona, na the virus, we dey worry human being. E no get Lego, but e dey waka from person to person. But we fit beat am, we fit stop am if we maintain good hygiene and practice social distancing. We go win. Oh. No shaking hands with your neighbor. Blow them a kiss from afar. Use soap and water to wage war. Let's show this thing who we are. We are special, we're courageous, we are awesome human beings. We dey super, we get power, we can conquer anything. If we hear word and obey laws and exercise discipline. Wash your hands, love each other, we go we know. If it be like say you know well, like it's something they do you, and you feel say, you believe say, you get a seed they do you, and your body no grisogy, like it's something they do you. No let panic finish you, you go we know. Self-isolate for the sake of all the people that you love. Oh, don't go around spreading rumors, 'cause fake news won't help anyone. You are special, you're courageous, you're a caged human being. You too much, oh, you get power, you can conquer anything. Only if you hear word and obey laws and exercise discipline. Wash your hands, love one another, we go, we know. My brother, my sister, papa, mama, and pikin. COVID-19, no big pass, we go fight and we go win. Just as long as we remember to always do the right thing. Wash your hands, love each other, we go, we know.
NTA Sports 24, where sports thrive.
The culture, norms, and tradition of any society no doubt reflects the life of its people. It is their way of life, hence it cannot be separated from the way they associate with other parts of the world. In Nigeria, culture takes a driving seat, as anyone who doesn't have a culture is said to have lost its identity. Iyere is a town that shares common boundary with Ipele, Idasen, Owo, Upeme, and Isoada. It is about 60 kilometers from Akure, the Ondo State capital, and 120 kilometers from Benin, the Edo State capital. Iyere is one of the major kingdoms in our local government of Ondo State, and like other Yoruba towns, the progenitor came from Ile-Ife.
As the custodian of our culture and history, like other Yoruba nation, our progenitors came from Ile-Ife, which is the cradle of the Yorubas. The name of our town, Iyere, was coined by the early neighbors, who described them as people under Ayere tree, while their leaders was referred to as the man under the Ayere tree, or the owner of the Ayere, otherwise known as Oliyere. Iyere people are peace-loving people and have been maintaining a relative peace with other neighbors.
Majority of the people are predominantly farmers. They also engage in local industries like cloth weaving, mat making, hunting, and a host of other trading ventures. Iyere people made up of largely of Urowo, Ukiti, Ujima are a band of progressive settlers who from time immemorial claim never to have been captured.
As the Balogun of Iyere, a peaceful town, we have never engaged in war with any community. At the same time, our forefathers organized their standing army. But nowadays, we don't fight physical war any longer. We fight underdevelopment and economic war, so that Iyere can be one of the leading towns in Africa in terms of education, commercial, technology, and other developments you can ever imagine.
The name Iyere was coined by the early neighbors of Urowo, who described them as people under Iyere tree. 7 quarters makes up of Iyere Kingdom. Every 7th month of the 7th year is the Ero Festival of the Egbe, during which time each Egbe moves one ladder to fill the place vacated by its immediate senior. One unique and major festival among the Iyere people is the Ero Festival.
Ero Festival is very significant in the life of every Iyere indigene. We celebrate it every 7 years. And it's important because it's a day of celebration, or it's a week or month of celebration, where all the people who have attained that age to celebrate or rejoice, we can call it Age Group Festival, where those who have attained that age come together and celebrate in a joyous way. Their children, grandchildren, we all come. It's like a birthday.
It is a traditional festival out of others celebrated in Iyere Kingdom, known as a festival of graduation and a form of retirement from adulthood into the elders forum or retirement, a traditional way of pension from all community work. To be qualified, you must attain the age of 62 to 70.
This Ero Festival comes up every 7 years. Now, we are celebrating this year now. The people behind us, they are high to 7 years coming now. So it's every 7 years. So now, I'm happy that at least for this year, I'm alive to witness it. And the reason is that now it's age group mate. You understand me? It's a form of birthday. It's a form of birthday, which age mate, and the age mate start with from 60 to 70, 65, 62 years, but 60 years and above is qualified to celebrate. But done in a communal level, not longer an individual basis now, but communally. That is the essence of this celebration. As a prince, my take is that it is worth celebrating because it makes us to bring home some of our sons and daughters. Peradventure, they have not come back to the town in the last 5 years, 10 years, or thereabout. This ceremony brings all of us together, old and young, and we communicate, we commune, we rejoice with one another. And that is the essence of this ceremony. Apart from the issue of church service, parties and all that, but some of my friends I've seen in the last 7 years, I saw them during this program. Some of them I have not seen in a long while. We come together and we rejoice together. And that is the essence of this ceremony.
It is only what the whites brought to us that determines who you are. Today, I want to know more about the customs and tradition of our people everywhere. I have come to be part of this for two things. I want to see how things are done in other culture, different from what happens in my place as an Elijah man. And I have seen, I have learned. Apart from that, reading is different from having the experience itself. And what I have seen today and in the activities so far tells me that our culture is still alive, it's not lost. If a woman gives birth within this festivity, the child will be given names that may look similar to what happens. That is why Yoruba will say, but today, what do you hear people having? Just to for me, I mean, these were not part of what we were used to. But because we are thinking that, look, whatever is our tradition today is fetish, is not civilized and all that. Whatever celebrations are in traditional forms that are in any community, in any kingdom, I would advise our youth to be part of it. Once you are not part of it, once you do not know what happens there, you will look like a stranger within your own kingdom.
There are some traditional involvement or participations that are supposed to be done before you can qualify. And how do you do that? We have a head in each of the group by quarters. And if you did not meet your criteria or your responsibility as a Nero to be, then you will be denied that you will not participate with them. It's not that you will not be, you are free in the community to go around and do other things, but you will not partake in some traditional rights that's attached to your hero based on agreement from your group head that you have not been able or fulfill all the traditional involvement or rights before you participate in that hero.
Hero Festival is a 2-week event, and the highlights of this include the royal visitation to various communities under Ire Kingdom,
Whether individually or collectively, NTA, that's even on we are living
in March. In the meantime, head of Ghana's Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, Dr. Dani Selby, has tested positive for COVID-19. She made the disclosure in an interview with Newsman. Dr. Selby has since gone into self-isolation. And statistics by Worldometer collated as at 6 p.m. indicates that the world has recorded 8,313,126 confirmed cases of coronavirus, with 447,437 deaths. Of the number, Africa accounts for 263,085 infections. Nigeria now has a total of 17,148 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 5,623 patients have recovered, while 455 deaths have been recorded in the country. And that's it from here. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Thanks, Joyce. And still on the global scene, United Kingdom's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced that the Department for International Development and the Foreign and Commonwealth Office will merge, uniting development and diplomacy in one new department that brings together Britain's international effort. International effort work on the merger will begin immediately with the new department. The Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office to be established in early September and will be led by the Foreign Secretary. The merger is an opportunity for the UK to have even greater impact and influence on the world stage as it recovers from the coronavirus pandemic and prepare to hold the G7 presidency as well as host COP26 next year. The Prime Minister said this is the moment to mobilize every national asset, including aid budget and expertise, to safeguard British interests and values overseas. All right, let's go on a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress has affirmed former Oyo State Governor and Deputy National Chairman of the party, Abiola Ajimobi, as the acting National Chairman of the party. National Vice Chairman South of the party, Herald Etta, addressed the media at the end of a closed-door meeting on behalf of the acting national chairman. He said the National Working Committee has constituted a 7-member electoral panel ahead of the Edo governorship primary, which has Imo State Governor Senator Hope Uzodinma as chairman.
And so, according to the constitution of our party, the NWC reaffirms His Excellency Chief Ajimobi, the Deputy National Chairman South, as the acting National Chairman of the party. We will also make plans in due time to have the congresses of our party from the ward culminating at the state level. in Rivers State. The NWC also noted that Chief Victor Giadom had resigned to contest as deputy governor of the party in the last election, and that the party has no recollection that the South-South committee, the South-South zone of the party had represented him.
And still on the political scene, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says the 27th of June 2020 deadline for the conduct of party primaries and the 6 p.m. Monday 29th June 2020 deadline for the submission of candidates and their credentials for the Edo governorship election remains sacrosanct, and there will be no extension. The INEC chairman, who gave the advice at an interagency consultative meeting on election security this Wednesday, observed that, arising from the experience in managing the nomination of candidates for the last two governorship elections is in Bayelsa and Kogi states, it is important to draw the attention of political parties to the four mandatory requirements for eligibility of candidates for governorship elections. The requirements are: the candidate must be a Nigerian citizen by birth, must have attained the age of 35, must be a member of and sponsored by a political party, and must be educated up to at least school certificate level or its equivalent. Adherence to these clear constitutional provisions is compulsory in order to avoid unnecessary litigations, while calling on security personnel to be proactive during electioneering campaigns. The INEC chairman promised that a draft code of conduct for the security personnel on COVID-19 has been developed and will soon be out. The federal government says the gloomy description of the country's debt profile as painted by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in his press statement is nothing but a deliberate attempt to spread doom anchored on a false premise. In a statement signed by Segun Adeyemi, Special Assistant to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said while the federal government welcomes constructive criticism, such must be anchored on verifiable facts rather than speak from an uninformed position for the firm of it.
Information and Culture Minister noted that there is no doubt that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar loves our country and wishes it well. Otherwise, he would not have sustained his serial quest for the country's highest position. One can only hope that his research to the use of such words as precipice, foreclosure, and economic ruins does not reflect anything but best wishes for the country at this time. Lai Mohammed maintained that the figure of Nigeria's debt-to-revenue ratio of 99% in the first quarter of 2020, quoted by the former Vice President, is not in the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper where he claimed he got it from. The statement further queried the source of the first quarter figures of 943.12 billion naira for debt servicing and 950.56 billion for retained revenue, which was also quoted by Atiku Abubakar. The minister said the debt service provisions in the annual budget include principal payments, interest payments, and all other applicable charges, adding, therefore, Atiku's statement that debt services does not equate to debt payment is not only wrong, but ill-informed. On the former Vice President's assertion that revenue needs to go up, Lai Mohammed said this administration has introduced several measures to shore up revenues, listing some of the measures as the passage and implementation of the Finance Act 2019, various ongoing reforms in the oil and gas sector, tax administration and collections, as well as the strategic revenue growth initiatives. Furthermore, Lai Mohammed said since Nigeria's debt service is expressly provided in the annual budget and the debt service payments are made as at when due, the issue of creditors foreclosing on Nigeria, as strangely predicted by the former Vice President, does not arise. Saying, contrary to the statement credited to Atiku Abubakar, that Nigeria has experienced alarming and unprecedented increase in the ratios of debt to GDP and debt service to revenue, indeed, Nigeria's ratio of debt to GDP is one of the lowest in the world, at 19%, as at December 31st, 2019, One of the reasons why debt services to revenue is high is because revenue generation in Nigeria has been low, with overdependence on the oil sector. This corroborated by the fact that the ratio of Nigeria's tax revenue to GDP is one of the lowest in the world at about 6%, the minister added. Lai Mohammed said, unlike what obtained in the past when the nation borrowed to service the crass indulgence of a few fat cats, the loans being obtained by the current administration are being primarily used to finance infrastructure projects, which include roads, rails, bridges and power, and the loans are long-term in nature, which will benefit present and future generations in the face of massive infrastructural decay, as no responsible government will sit by and do nothing. This present administration's borrowing, therefore, is aimed at mostly revamping our infrastructure. The loans for the educational sector will contribute to the development of our human capital, while the loans for the agricultural sector will help the move to diversify the economy. The minister said, despite the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the country's economy, the federal government has continued to take measures to mitigate the effects of the pandemic and assured that the government will always act in the best interest of Nigerians.
Let's talk security. The troops of Operation Lafia Dole and some element of the Civilian Joint Task Force have rescued 32 people, abducted and eliminated 22 Boko Haram members during an ambush and clearance operations. In a statement by Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche says those rescued comprises of 16 women, 16 children and 1 male adult. Major General Eneche notes that the encounter, which spanned through Goza, Askira Uba, Bama, Gamboru, Ngala and Ngazai local government area of Borno State, as well as the capture of one terrorist, recoveries of several arms in addition to the destruction of camps, while many Boko Haram members escaped with gunshot injuries. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, and the Military High Command commends the armed forces for their patriotism and urged them to sustain the tempo to ensure rapid mopping of the terrorists. All right, we're done with the news. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Ruth Aguela. Bye.
I am Dr. David Ajibade. World Sickle Cell Day is coming up shortly, and I want to say a few things about dehydration. Think about this. Blood needs to flow adequately through the blood vessels. And what we know is that if kids who have sickle cell disease, adults who have sickle cell disease are dehydrated, in other words, there's not enough fluid, it is more likely that their blood vessels will get blocked because of the sickled cells that are constantly in the bloodstream. And so it's very, very important that you keep drinking a lot of fluid to keep yourself hydrated so that the blood can, you can remain hydrated and so blood can flow as well as it should. Because if blood begins, there's a lull, so to speak, in the blood flow, it allows for the accumulation of platelets and sickled cells, which sets up a cascade, which results in a crisis, and we don't want that. So it takes plenty of fluids, really, really important. That's one of the most important things you can do. Stay tuned for more videos.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of NYSC Half Hour. I am Nkem Okwogo. On this episode, you will be inspired by the good work of corps members across the country. We are still in the era of coronavirus pandemic, and corps members continue to be at service to others. In the news today, corps members in Niger State embarked on a 2-day sensitization exercise at the Nigerian Army Barracks in Mina on the dangers of COVID-19 and all necessary preventive measures. At the end of the sensitization exercise, they donated 2,000 face masks amongst other items to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. Commending the efforts of the exercise, Major Dr. E.B. Kanhu, who is in charge of the MRS Barracks, expressed gratitude to the corps members for their selfless service to humanity. The NYSC Benue State Committee on the Control and Prevention of COVID-19 donated 500 pieces of face masks produced by corps members in the state to 4 markets across the state capital, Makurdi. In line with what has become a major trend in NYSC in recent days, it was another day of palliative food item distribution in some areas of Lagos State. The palliative distributed took place in Surulere and Shomolu local government areas where corps members made robust donations of food items to the residents. Welcome back. The service year is a great opportunity to find your purpose, to discover your passion, and launch a career path. The National Youth Service Corps was established in 1973 as a means to develop a dynamic scheme